Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live. I hope all of you are doing awesome. All right. Well, you guys, right on. You're beating me here. Right on. Scoden Lures is here. So don't forget to like and subscribe right off the bat. Good morning. Sam's here. Sam says hello. Drissy Guitars, right on. Paul says greetings all. Robert's hello, peoples. Says, hope Jeff isn't having difficulties. I am not having difficulties. We are here. We are hanging out. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to hanging out. Sam says, probably making the coffee. There it is. Paul says, it's only a minute late. Guy who watch live on Saturdays can vary from 1 to 7 minutes late. I try to be timely as best I can. Sometimes we're a minute or so late. Unless we are truly having difficulties, which has happened before. And Donna says, coffee up. Right on. Coffee up, everybody. Cheers. Good morning. It's tasty this morning. Harry Dude's here. Harry Dude says, what's up? Hello, people. What's up, Harry Dude? What's going on? And Dastardly Dave's here. Dave says, sup all. He says, hey, Jeff. Hey, Dave. How are you doing? Man, right on, guys. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out with me here in the shop. What's everybody up to this fine Wednesday morning? Around here, we're finally getting into spring-like weather. I've actually had some days or times of the day where I'm not wearing a beanie. It's getting warm, and I can't wait till it stays that way. Things here, anyway, are beginning to green up. It's awesome. It's like my favorite time of year. Tony's here. Tony says, morning, sunshine. Good morning, Tony. How are you this fine Wednesday morning? Paul says, work. Just work. Sorry, Paul. Sam says, about to send a super chat. Just testing the account, got refreshed. Oh, okay. Right on, Sam. Well, thank you. Adjust this a little. I feel like I'm like a little off. Alrighty, so like I said, what's everybody working on? What kind of projects on your bench? Always like to know what everyone's working on. Robert says, I have found that if the image of the video freezes, all I have to do is back up the slider a small amount and it continues after the hiccup and runs smoothly. Interesting. Well, that's good to know. And there it is, Sam. Right on. Thank you. Hey, look, and the button worked the very first time. Thank you, Sam. Paul says guitar bodies and 2 builds. Yeah, I've been following along on your progress. Everything's looking good. Right on. Sam says excellent. Haha. Thank you, Sam. Tony's working on kitchen drawer dividers for the wife. Yeah, that's a good project. It's always fun, like trying to do those sorts of projects, because it's one of those things that just a standard layout never seems to work out well for everybody. So being able to customize and, make them fit your needs, that's like one of the cool things. And everybody ends up with something a little bit different. Always a fun project. I've done a couple of those. So very nice, Tony. Sam says, did you get the blades? I haven't been been to the post office. I better get up there. Been busy working on this over here, which I'll show you in a moment. Yeah, I'll have to get up to the post office. So sorry about the delay, Sam. Harry Dude says, currently repairing a DMX lighting controller. getting to practice my swearing. That I have never worked on one of those things, and I know like about that much about them, just enough to kind of know how they work. So yeah, I can only imagine once you actually get inside it. Yeah, good luck with that. You'll get it though. You'll get it. Robert says to Tony, always a good idea to try making the wife happy. Right on. Cool. Alrighty. So, what in the world is going on around here? Well, Sam says lighting DMX. Yeah, there's a controller. The controllers that control like stage lights and stuff, Sam. It's called a DMX controller. I honestly don't know what that stands for. Harry Dude probably could tell us, but the controller is it's kind of the I don't know. I don't know if you'd call it the language that controls it. You know, you always have the, flashing lights and turn this light on here and that light on there. And, that controller is called a DMX controller. And that's about as in-depth as I dare go without, without telling you something wrong. So, you want to see what I've been working on? Look at this. Progress on the base. All test cuts, of course. Nothing is going to be final because there's a few errors here and there, but the fretboard's just taped in place so I can kind of look at it all together. But I got the neck carved. This is the first test run. There we go. This whole thing's a test run, but yeah, it took me a little while to get all this stuff done. Kind of like you saw in the video. It's all just testing. Oh, that cut didn't work, so start over, change some settings, and I was able to get one successfully cut. Found out that I need to get some different bits. A compression style bit does not work very good for this sort of application. So I got some different bits ordered. Even got the fretboard slotted on this. I only broke 3 tiny bits trying to get the settings correct. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the first successful test run, I'd say. And I'm currently working on the new, some hopefully improved G-code files so that I can start running a second test run of everything in hopes that, I don't know, maybe I'll need to do a third. Who knows? But I'm going to keep testing until we get this down a little bit better. But overall, the neck's not even bolted in. It's just friction fit. Of course, everything is very lightweight. This wood is really light. It weighs nothing. I definitely wouldn't recommend using this kind of wood for a neck. I don't know. Maybe when it's got the carbon fiber rods in there, it might be okay, but anyway. I don't know. I'm pretty happy. Oh, I just realized the only thing I did not cut yet is the control cavity cover. But yeah, just been prototyping that, doing some cleanup around the shop. Paul, I know you had posted something about doing some cleanup. Let's see, wonder if that'll stay. Probably not. Kind of looks cool back there. I've been doing a little bit of cleanup as well, and just kind of getting things sorted out and all that stuff. And remember those finger planes that I made last fall? I found that half chopped off saw blade that I used, and while the prototype files were running, I decided to start working on a knife. Kind of a crazy idea. So I've been working on that. That should be this week's video. Just about to glue on the black walnut handles, and so that's my current project and my plan for this weekend. It's just one of those projects I've been working on while prototyping parts for this. kind of just a fun project. I've always just been wanting to make some sort of a knife, sort of a straight razor type sheep's foot thing. And yeah, just a fun little project. We'll get this glued up as soon as we're done hanging out here. Get this glued, and while that's drying, I'm gonna work on some more stuff for the bass guitar. But projects in the works. There's never seems to be a lack. Alrighty, let's see here. Oh, sorry, I'm scrolling back up. Sam says, I got one by American DJ, didn't see the above message. Oh, no worries. Donna says, summer project plans. That is something that has been on my mind, you know, because school's out and stuff. So my daughter's home for the summer. And I've been pondering different things that we can work on, you know, just kind of brainstorming some ideas, trying to think of something, because I always like to do at least, you know, at least a little something for projects with her, you know, something we can work on together. And at the moment, I don't have anything set in stone, but I have been, you know, I've been thinking about that, trying to come up with some stuff that, you know, that she can work on or, you know, help me with or something like that. And I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. But it is something that's on my mind, because they only have here anyway about 3.5 more weeks of school left for the year, which is kind of hard to believe. And we're already into May. Today's the 1st of May. I can't believe it. The 1st of May, and I'm still wearing a beanie. It's just not even right. But yeah, nothing's set in stone yet, Donna, but it is something that I'm mulling over. Robert says, I got a set of Wilkinson P90 pickups in the mail a couple days ago that I ordered last week. Nice. Do you have a plan for it? You have a project you're going to be putting those in? Paul says, I know that's a prototype, but that body wood is just begging to be made into a real guitar. Well, no worries, Paul, because I have a lot of this stuff. And I hope that I can find some stuff that's good enough to make some bodies out of. I got 6 or 8 slabs of this. They're about, I don't know, 4 foot by probably, what is that, 3 foot across? I mean, they're pretty big slabs. If I can find, the challenge is finding the right spot on these slabs where it'll avoid most of the cracks. I know I could epoxy and, you know, that sort of thing on some of the cracks, but if I don't have to, it's not really something that I want to do. We'll just see how it goes. But I'm pretty sure that I've got some pieces here that I'll be able to use. I did take some scraps actually of what this used to be, and I glued up another blank. It still has some voids and cracks, and you know, there's a crack, little void here. But this is actually a 2-piece, and it is one that I'm going to use for the next test cut, and we'll see how it turns out. If I get a good one out of these, I'll definitely save it. This one's all split on the end. I did soak a bunch of wood glue down in there and kind of clamped it just to kind of stabilize it. And but yeah, this will be my next test blank. But hopefully, like I said, we'll find some good material in there, because it is excuse me, it is just some cool looking wood. It really is. I just wish that I'd gotten this log earlier, before it had so much time to crack and check and sit out in the weather. But I'm going to try to make use of it as best I can. Sam says, chat moves fast, and seeing something in time before pressing enter is a YouTube issue, yeah. Paul says, just do a cool inlay. We're a bit into the comfort carve a bit too much. Yeah, I don't know what in the world. It was something with the setup on my G code. When the bit came up to the top, it just decided to go and then it went back down and then it was really weird. And I believe that if I hadn't stopped it, it would have done it all the way up. Although I'm holding it down here, you can't even see it. Yeah, this was just kind of weird. But yeah, I've adjusted all that. I've got that fixed. A few more adjustments that I need to make, as far as depths and things. But overall, prototype number 1. Robert says, have to test fit any frets in the slots to see how well it works. Yes, that is something I need to do yet. I haven't even tried on this, mainly because, like I said, there's a couple of processes on the neck that I need to work out in my head, kind of as far as the best ways to do this, because I've got the truss rod slot and slots for the carbon fiber rods cut in here. So I did everything separate. I machined the neck and then machined the fretboard separate. But there's a few processes in there that I want to work out. Like, I want to cut the fretboard to size with the neck while it's glued in place. So I'm trying to work through, do I cut the truss rod slot and all that first, then cut the fretboard, or maybe I cut the fretboard, then move on to the neck. Maybe the fretboard's only slotted. Maybe it's not even slotted at all. Glue it in place, and then I've got fixtures on the machine which will locate everything. And I want to cut the fretboard while it's glued to the neck. So just trying to work out the processes, because I think overall everything, all of the shapes and the edge contours, I think all of that'll be a lot neater if I can cut it all together, if that makes sense, rather than trying to glue the fretboard on now while it's pretty much to size. I'm just mulling over all that stuff, trying to work out how I want to do it. There's a ton of different ways you can do it. I'm just trying to figure out what might work better for me. And I'm going to be trying some of that stuff with this next prototype. I won't put the truss rod or any of that in there, but I will play around probably with gluing on the fretboard, and then working out the flip, and we're getting there. I just got to work through it all. And then once I get at least the next version, Robert, then I will press in some frets and see how it works. Know Your Joe's here, says good day, everyone. Good day, Know Your Joe. How's your day going? Sam says try the My DMX 3.0. It's USB powered. Interesting. Time Surfing Alien. Good morning. Harry Dude says to Sam, this is a customer's unit. I'll probably get the NTech USB unit for myself. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That's kind of cool. Paul says, I'm building 2 router planes using Allen keys for cutters and using mesquite wood as the body. Just waiting on adjustment nuts that will let you fine-tune the depth. Ooh, that sounds cool. That is something that I have wanted to make. And I've actually done a couple, real raw and unrefined using Allen keys. Actually, hang on. Don't go anywhere, and I'll grab it really quick. I think I know where they are. So, talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going right over here, so don't worry, I'm not going far away. Just right here, trying to find... Where's the other one? I don't know. Well, I found one. I made a smaller one somewhere, but I honestly don't know where it is. It's just a really basic, just basically testing the idea, seeing if it's going to work. But yeah, just a real simple router plane. I didn't even cut this off. You get it nice and sharp. Getting the angle correct is something that I found is a little challenging. on the bottom of the Allen key, because it's got to be angled so that it stays clear of the material, but yet you can't remove too much material or it'll bend and break. I know I did break a couple of these. But yeah, just a fun little project, and definitely something that I want to revisit, because I really think something like this would be helpful. Especially, I've used this one actually to fine tune certain areas on a truss rod slot if I ever needed to. I've done that a time or two, and just getting into little spaces. But yes, that'll be cool. I want to see pictures when you get it done, Paul, because like I said, that's something that I've wanted to try. I've got a really small one around here somewhere. I don't know where it went. But yeah, fun little project. Sam says, a lot of knives you make, Jeff, look incredible, but some might not be legal in the UK due to blade length. Well, thank you, Sam. But yeah, that's I don't know all the laws over there or anything, but it's just something that I've kind of wanted to play around with. I like these kind of just different shapes and untraditional blades and things. When I built my belt grinder, when I built my belt grinder, my main thought at the time was I wanted to make some knives and different blades and play around with some of that stuff. And I use that belt grinder all the time, but I haven't really done much with making knives or blades or anything. So, it's definitely something that I want to do a little bit more. It's like, well, since I got it here, yeah, it's just like this horseshoe knife. It's just something that I wanted to try. And that's the fun, when you're making stuff like that, you just get to experiment and have some fun. So Sam, are you only you're only allowed like a certain length, or does it have to be folding, or can you have fixed blades, or I don't know how that works in other places, but this one I'm making is, whoops, as I throw the walnut on the floor, it's just something different, kind of a sheep's foot, I believe a sheep's foot blade is, has a straight blade. Definitely not going to be a kitchen knife because you can't really chop anything too well, but yeah, just fun little things just to make. And this is made out of that, like I said, that saw blade. So it's not super, I wouldn't say it's super heavy duty, but so far it's just been fun, just a fun project. Doesn't really take all that long to do. The hardest part was heat treating it, which I did with the MAP gas torch, kind of basically the same way I did those finger plane blades. Time Surfing Alien says, I haven't even worn a jacket this year. I love Alabama. Man, I got a jacket on right now. It's warming up now, but it was still like 34 degrees this morning when I woke up. So I mean, it's still pretty chilly. Corey says, right now we don't know what type of weather we're going to be getting. The weather is unpredictable right now. That's exactly what we get. We'll get a few days of nice, a few days of overcast, maybe some rain, which I think we have moving in tomorrow or Friday. These sporadic thunderstorms, and it's the springtime weather here is pretty wild. Scoden Lures says, greetings everyone. What's going on? Robert says, has anyone seen or used a USB device called Fixmeatic? It's supposed to be used to fix or scan computers for viruses and other issues to help speed them up. I have never even heard of it. I got no input on you or for you there. Yeah, I've never heard of it. Maybe someone else has. Scoden Lures says, nice, right on. Robert says, I have a set of templates for an offset type guitar that I may try to build using the P90s in. That'll be cool. Sam says, noticing the tiny electrical plug on the tool behind. UK plugs are bigger but much safer. Have fuses inside. UK outlets have individual switches per outlet for additional safety. Interesting. I didn't know. Oh, you look at maybe that up there. Yeah, that router. That's my router binding tower up there. If that's or no, you're probably talking about that. Yeah, that is my that's my branding iron. Harry Dude asks, did you program the CNC to radius the fretboard? Yes, I did. I did not run that cut on here though. Um, but yeah, I have it set up so that I can just punch in the radius, and I might even redo that so that I can have, a compound radius. So I'll have it set for radius at the nut, radius at the heel, and then it can do its thing. But yes, I did set all that up. Like I said, but I just didn't run it on this one because uh, my final cut when I was doing the outer contour, ended up cutting through, for some reason, it cut through the tabs that was holding everything in place. So rather than letting it flop around, I just stopped the process there, called it good for a test. The next one, I'm going to be experimenting. Like I mentioned, I'll be experimenting with the different ways of doing this all together, and I will practice that the radiusing cut. So it's just you know, it'll put the radius in the fretboard just like you would by hand. Part of me thought about maybe I'll work that, still the hand sanding into my process. I don't know. It'd be nice to be able to just do it all and then just final sanding and fitment and all that stuff. And as long as I can work that process out, that's probably the route that I'll go. I'll let the machine do as much as it can. Jimmer says, "Why hello." Why hello, my friend. How are you this fine Wednesday morning? Paul says, "I do understand getting it right so you can repeat it on a CNC. Since some of my special builds are done from my head, I design on the fly and modify as needed to get it truly custom, one of a kind." Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, there's still going to be, I guess the main reason that I want to try to work all of this out, especially for this build, is because it's kind of my standard. It's going to be my standard model. And, basically there's not going to be a ton that at this moment anyway, that I plan on changing. I'll be able to do things like the fretboard radius, and that's probably it, but I'll be able to do different inlay options and stuff like that. This one just has your normal, dots for the fretboard markers, but there's going to be a lot of different things that I'm hoping I'll be able to do. But I don't plan on making this completely, everyone being completely different. So if I feel like if I get it worked out now and I need to make a new model, then I just run the files and cut it. But I don't do a ton of one-off builds for the most part. I mean, I've done a few, but I want this to be super repeatable, super accurate, and as fine-tuned as I can. Paul says, "I built one of my lathe tools inside hollowing tool out of a 1/2 inch long, 3/4 inch Allen key. Works great." I remember when you were talking about that. Edgelight says, "I'm working on 5 cigar box guitars this week. I'd like to build regular guitars or basses, but people keep asking me to build CBGs." That's not a bad thing. CBGs are awesome. I've got a cigar box sitting around. I talked about a while back that I need to build that into an instrument at some point, because they're just fun. This has been quite a process so far, but there's something about a cigar box guitar that is it's just fun. And actually, I would say that those are all one-offs when I build one of those. There's always something different. Unless you have 2 identical cigar boxes from the same maker and all that, every single one I've worked with is different in some way. Thickness is here, a width there, material here, the construction method's different. Everything is completely different, and it really requires basically a one-off approach to even get one done, which I like. I like that variety in there. I actually do have another one that I built several years ago. Um, it was a personal build, and I wanna remake the neck on that because I kind of got it all messed up. I had to relieve the inside so that the lid could close down, and the thickness that I had to remove meant that from the neck thickness to where I had to remove that material, it's really thin in the neck, even with only 3 strings. No, this one has 4. It wants to bow really bad. So I want to just basically pull that neck out and remake one. So that's actually on my list of things to do because right now it's mostly unplayable because it bows at the neck, what would be the neck joint, and the action gets so high. So one of these days I got to rebuild that thing, and I'm going to probably do that as a video too. But CBGs are awesome. They're super fun to play. They're super fun to build, and just I don't know. It's just a whole different ball game, really. Paul says we'll send pics. Building one for me and one for a YouTube channel I follow that is in Canada. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Robert says I bought one of the router plane kits that Paul Sellers has. Haven't built it into the plane yet. Still trying to find what I want to use for the wood part. Yeah, that's cool. I haven't looked at his stuff in a while, but I definitely have learned a lot from Paul. A hand plane too. I want to make a wooden hand plane someday. I need to get some thicker material because I don't think this saw blade stuff is quite heavy duty enough to make an iron. But I would love to do that. Make the iron. Make a wooden, like a coffin style plane. I think that would be cool. I used to have one up here, but I think I stashed it away. It belonged to my grandpa. But yeah, I would like to build a hand plane too. Sam says pen knives can't be longer than 3 inches and can't lock, but also need a real valid reason for obtaining it and carrying it. Really, such as fishing or legal hunting of rodents, etc. Interesting. So like a normal pocket knife, you can't just carry a regular pocket knife. I carry this little guy all the time. This is my all-time favorite knife. It's not super big. It's a Kershaw. I believe this is the Scallion. They always have like onions type names. But yeah, I've had this thing for 23, 4 years, and it's super cool. But I know that this one, well, it used to be this one wasn't legal in all the states, and it was mainly Missouri that I'm aware of because it has a spring assist. But yeah, this is like my all-time favorite one. But it locks, so you couldn't carry a pocket knife that locks open. Interesting. Time Surfing Alien says, I was in Maine building a television tower in 2000. A local told me that sometimes summer fall on a Sunday and everyone goes swimming. For summer? They just go swimming on the day summer hits? In Maine, it's got to be, I would imagine it would be a little bit chilly still. Scott says, hello from North Carolina. As a luthier apprentice, I'm planning my first full telly build. Nice. Scott, that is going to be awesome. You're going to love it. And what a great build for a first build too. It's going to be awesome. And a telly is one of my favorite shapes, honestly. I don't know what it is about them. I just like that shape. I always have. And it too was the first shape that I ever built. It was a telly. I still have it, and it could use a little work, but it was my first one built from wood that was part of my grandpa's barn, and yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be great. Have you started on the build yet, Scott? Or planned out like what materials you're going to use, what kind of wood or anything? Time Surfing says, just got finished building the one in my profile pic. Nice. I can't really see it at the moment because it's about that big on this little screen here, but I'll have to look on the PC when we're done. Sam asked, ever played a guitar? Don't see many being played today, though, sadly. I have never played a guitar. Part of me wants to get one just for the novelty factor, not because I probably would ever play it, but just because it's a guitar. I think it'd be cool. Hang it on the wall next to all your guitars. Sam says, perhaps make a banjo. A banjo's been on my list for a long time. I like the banjo. I have a banjo, a left-handed banjo, and I spent quite a bit of time when I first got it trying to learn some of this stuff, and I love the sound, and yeah, it is something I wouldn't mind making. That's on my list of projects. I was going through that list yesterday, just trying to see, what all was in there. Yeah, and build a banjo is definitely on there. Paul says, I built a double neck 3/4 string cigar box guitar a few years ago for an auction. I made it out of recycled pallets with mahogany necks. Used a blade switch on the top of the body. Nice. I want to build a double neck too. There's so many projects that I want to do, but like the baritone acoustic I want to build, a double neck that I want to build, and finishing up these sorts of projects for Haley guitars. There's just so many that never ends. And then you got all the stuff in between, making a knife and making router planes and never ends. Robert says, here in Oklahoma, has had some really deadly twisters this year. Nearly the full downtown area of a town called Sulphur was destroyed this past Saturday. The loss of life has been minimum. I heard about that in Sulphur, Robert. That is absolutely incredible. Man, my thoughts go out to everybody affected there, and yeah, I'm glad to hear that loss of life is at a minimum. That's for sure good. But yeah, that's wild. And hopefully we don't have too many of those nasty storms this year, but I don't know. It's that time of year. It's that storm season. Oh, Paul. Oh, there. Yeah. Paul says between the two necks. Yeah, I got you. Bobby's here. Bobby says, "What's up, Jeff? Hiya, Bobby. How are you today? Happy Wednesday. Hope your day's going great." Ara says some other towns, both in Oklahoma and a few other states, have also been hit hard. I know, it's kind of crazy. Jimmer says, I made a wooden airplane once. Me too. Do you remember? No, you probably don't, because I believe it was at Pine City. Something after school or something. We used to build model airplanes. I can barely remember that. I feel like it was after school, in elementary school. But yeah, it was like balsa, and then you like glued this paper on there, and it wound up with a rubber band, and you had to go fly it. That was fun. Time Surfing Alien says every grown man should have and carry a quality pocket knife. Time Surfing Alien, I could not agree more. I agree 155%. And it doesn't have to be this big giant thing. I just think that you should have something on you where you're allowed to do it, because apparently you can't everywhere. But yeah, to me it's a vital thing. It's like the first thing I grab when I get up. I get dressed and I grab. There's three things that I carry with me every single day, without a doubt, no matter where I'm going. And of course, one's just a regular pocket knife, and then if you've seen the video, I made this little pouch. I got my Leatherman in here and a flashlight. Every day from sunup to sundown, I always have these on me. And, I just think it's a good idea. I agree with you. Sam says, anyone caught by police with a bladed article within public places are arrested and can be held in custody for 4 years? For 4 years for carrying a pocket knife? If repeated, it's minimum extended custody of up to 6 months. That's crazy. That is wild, Sam. I had no idea that you can't even carry a pocket knife. Now, is it okay if it's less than 3-inch blade and it can't lock open? So that would be like maybe a Swiss Army knife or something like that, because those are a good option to carry too. That is wild. Jimmer says, thank goodness for Second Amendment protections here. We'd be worse off than Europe, even with knives. Yeah, that's crazy. I did not know. I did not know. See, that's what's awesome. I get to learn. I say it all the time. I love learning about the different countries and the different, the ways things operate, because I have no idea. I'm just a guy over here in Colorado, and and I don't know how things work in all parts of the world, and I enjoy learning about all that different stuff. Paul says, Sam, where you at? I carry knives all the time. Keep a Bowie strapped to my bike in plain view. Sam's in the UK, Paul. Sam's in the UK. Says UK laws are strict in this area. Guns are tightly controlled. Even tasers or pepper spray are deemed a firearm. Wow. That's wild. That's wild. Robert says, yeah, the storms this past Saturday stretched nearly all the way from central Texas all the way to the Great Lakes, affecting multiple states. Craziness. Time surfing says, pocket knife, pistol, and a lighter. Sam says if one has a genuine reason, yes, and laws are followed to the T. Kizzy says, do you do those butterfly inlays on split wood? If so, have you ever done it on log style rounded wood? I have not done it on like a log style. I don't know if I can show you. I'm going to try to see if I can drop this on the floor somehow. So the stool that I sit on is a piece of, I believe that's white oak. And it had a little crack here. And I did the little inlay on it, but it is not rounded. It is live edge, but it's not rounded. But really, I think, so if you've got a rounded piece, get this situated. If you've got a rounded piece and you need to cut that inlay, I think the process would be fairly, about the same. The hardest part, I think, would be, accurately marking out the shape of your butterfly. So I'm trying to, I can't find anything right offhand to kind of demonstrate that, but, you would still, I would make the inlay, try to get it as flat as possible. Maybe you could make some little spacers to keep it from wobbling if it's a rounded surface. You'd still probably scribe around it with a marking knife or something, or even maybe a pencil. Yeah, pencil would be kind of hard because you're not going to be able to get right up against the edge, but probably a marking knife. And you would just remove the material. If you're doing it with a chisel, it shouldn't be all that hard. If you're going to use a router, of course, you need to stabilize so that it doesn't rock on the rounded edge. And then you'd glue in your inlay. And then, of course, it's going to sit, it's going to sit above the rounded surface. And then from there, you could just pare it down with a chisel. I don't think it'd be all that bad. A teeny bit trickier. But it's not something that I have ever done, to answer your question. But, if you're trying to do it, I don't think it'd be all that bad. Just getting the marks accurately transferred would probably be the trickiest thing. And then from there, it's just removing the material. You can do it. Heritage says, always have the Leatherman Scala-Tool on my belt, even on stage. I've had to quickly tighten up guitar strap pins between songs. It saved me. Yes. I like that Scala-Tool. I almost got one at one point when I was looking for this particular Leatherman. But I decided to go with this one. This is the Charge. I like it a lot. The worst thing about this is once it's open, right? There's this little point in the middle, right? You see, it almost closes, it almost touches. What I have happened, and there's a healing proof. If I'm using it like this and I'm trying to like grab a pin, like I was working on this, and I put those alignment pins in the body. Well, when I was test fitting those pins, it got stuck. It got stuck in the hole in the wasteboard. So I grabbed these, and I grabbed a hold of the pin, and of course I'm squeezing kind of hard and I'm pulling it up out. Well, what happens? You see where your finger is? See if you can see where this is going. Right there. And when it slips off, it pinches the crap out of your finger. And I've done this dozens and dozens of times. If you're using it normal, like this, it's not so bad. But anytime you've got to grab something this way, usually when I got to put some pressure on it, it pinches your finger. I thought I lost a chunk of skin, but instead it just went into a blood blister, and it was horrible. That's my biggest complaint about this. Pinches your finger and it hurts bad. But otherwise, this has been great. The charge, I've even broken blades on it, sent it back to Leatherman a few times and had it repaired. And I have, other than the pinch point thing, I have no complaints with this thing whatsoever. Sam says, that's a cool stool. Awesome repair ideas too. Yeah, Sam, there's a whole video on the channel of building this stool. Quite a few years ago. I haven't watched that in a long time. You might get a laugh if you went back and found it. It's just an offcut, and the legs are pipe, like plumbing pipe, black iron pipe. It was a fun project to put together. I use the thing all the time. Just a cool project. But so if you're interested, scroll back on the channel. Several years, maybe, I don't even know when I made this, 4, 5, 6 years ago? I don't know. It's been quite some time. Robert says, when I was still working, once a guy in upper management told me that the pocket knife I was carrying, a deadly weapon. The blade was less than 1.5 inches long. Good grief. Gene says, very cool stool. Thank you. Thank you. Like I say, old video is on the channel for sure of building that stool, including doing the butterfly inlay. You just got to find it. My apologies that I can't remember exactly when I made it, but it's been a while. Donna says, have a great weekend. Donna, you too. Have a great weekend. Sam says, pinch point dangers. Yes. Oh man, that one on that Leatherman is bad. KK says, good evening, brothers from Greece. Wishing you well. Saddened by what I see in universities in the U.S. I think this all incitement should be stopped immediately. I'm so sorry. Yeah. KK, what's going on? How's everybody in Greece? I hope you and yours are doing awesome. Jimmer says, we call that the Baker pinch. Oh, I'm telling you. It's gotten me more than once. And this one is from last week. It's pretty well healed up, mostly. It was bad. Oh man, it was one of those pinches where you almost don't want to look because it hurts so bad, and you're expecting, I'm expecting to need a Band-Aid or two. Yeah, it wasn't good. I've even thought about grinding some of these down so that it opens up that space a little bit more, but after looking at it, it's where if I remove any of that material, it's going to remove the lock for the blade. So when it opens, there's like that little notch right there. And that's when the blade is opened up, that's what it locks, or that's what it stops it against. And I'm afraid to take too much of that off. But I've been looking at this thing to modify. Kizzy says, that's beautiful. I'm trying to fix an aspen log style rocking chair. Should I do the inlay over the whole diameter, like through and through, or make it smaller and leave wood on each side? I gotta have a piece of a log around here somewhere, but I don't. What do I look up? I'm trying to think if you've got. I guess it would probably depend on the crack. I honestly don't feel like you would need to go all the way through the piece. Without seeing it or anything like that, it just sounds like overkill to me. This isn't going to be an exact example, but it's about the best I can come up with at the moment. How am I going to show you this? Whoops. Let me see here. So this piece of wood has a crack in it, right? And the crack doesn't go all the way through the back. But if I was going to patch this up, I don't think that there would be any benefit to me cutting a bow tie shape all the way through the piece. I just don't think you need to do that. You know, if you inlaid, you know, 1/2 inch thick, depends on how thick the piece is. If you just, once you spline that together with a good solid hardwood, and you want to make sure that the grain, so the grain of this wood is running this way. When you put your spline in there, your butterfly inlay, you want the grain to run this way, right? I hope that makes sense. So that's what kind of holds it together and keeps it from tearing apart. Let me show you on this stool again. Yeah. Whoops. So you can, this is awkward. Sorry, I'm all out of frame here. So you can see the grain of this wood here is running this way, but I don't know if you can tell, the grain on this butterfly is running this way, right? So that's where you get that strength. If you put the inlay the same direction as the grain, well, the inlay can still break, right? And it will just continue pulling apart. So you want the inlay to go cross grain. That way you get the strength this way and keeps everything together. But I don't think that you would need to go all the way through. Again, not seeing the piece, not knowing anything else about it. What I would probably do, you know, maybe you can put a clamp on there, kind of squeeze it together a little bit, then scribe your marks for the butterfly. Then when you cut the butterfly and glue it in, it's going to kind of hold everything together. But I've also seen where, you know, this particular stool, I didn't clamp it. I just left it where it was because I was trying to keep it from being in tension. But if you need, for some reason, you need to hold it together, you could clamp it, maybe. Do your inlay, glue it. It's gonna be fine. I don't see where you would need to go all the way through the piece. That's just my kind of initial thoughts on that. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but yeah, maybe at least gives you something to think about. Heritage says, no such pinch point on the Skeletool. Just saying. I might need to get me a Skeletool. Then I'd have to make a new little pouch. Another project idea. Sam says, perhaps turn that test guitar into a LED illuminated sign. Saves wasting it. Yeah, you know, I will probably do something with it. I don't know what. I do not feel that at this moment in time this will ever be a playable guitar. I don't think. I know that neck won't. The neck one fretboard I won't ever use on this. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to toss it just yet. We'll see what happens. KK says, I'm fine, of course. I study law and politics. Here we have very difficult courses because of the ancient culture of the Greeks. Hope everything goes fast and you rest there. Be well, Brother Jeff. Right on, my friend. Thank you, KK. Good luck with your studies, too. And tell everyone in Greece hello. I imagine the weather this time of year is quite nice. It's totally a guess because I don't really know, but I can imagine Greece in the springtime. Just sounds cool. Kizzy says, perfect. Thank you so much. Right on. Thank you. I like brainstorming different questions and issues that you all are trying to work out. So yeah, definitely. If you ever got a question, anybody, on any sort of repair or project you're going to be tackling, don't hesitate. Doesn't matter if we're talking, doesn't matter what we're talking about. It's always an open conversation, and I enjoy chatting about every project. KK, boom, with the thumbs up in the wave. It's awesome. Cool. Alrighty. Well, yeah, so that's kind of what I'm working on now. Oh, yeah, I've dragged a bunch of stuff out here today. Router planes and slabs of wood and that big chunk that I was holding up. This guy. This is what I took a slice off of to make the fretboard for this. I just resawed a strip off there. I'm going to make a few more for some more test fretboards. And I'm also going to do some testing for my acoustic guitar sidebender. I picked up from my buddies over at Skyscraper Guitars their latest heat blanket heat controller for the adjusting the temperature of the heating blanket. So I'm excited to try that. So I think this will make some good practice stock for that as well. So that's something I'm going to be doing here at some point. Probably when I cut the next fretboard test blank, I'll slice off some more pieces for that, to use for side bending practice. I wish this was a little wider because I think I could get usable sides out of that, but this isn't quite wide enough. Unless I made a super thin body. But yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm nowhere near starting another acoustic yet, but it is on the list. Sam says, I need an electric kettle. Microwave boiled water is nasty. Yeah. No, I just use a kettle. If I need a kettle, we have a little pot on the stove, and it works fine. Paul says, what polish do you use to shine your guitars? I have used a few different ones. So I started out with, and it seems though I saw it scroll by. You said you have some Meguiar's. Hope it works. So that's what I started out using. Meguiar's, the one I used for, I don't know, 5 or 6 guitars plus a few other projects, was Meguiar's Ultimate. Was it Ultimate Compound or Ultimate Polish? I think it was Ultimate Polish. Meguiar's Ultimate. It works really well. Now I have switched over to a different process, not because of any downside with Meguiar's. It's just I wanted to try to see if I could make improvements to my process. Meguiar's works awesome. I think you'll get good results with that. Now I use the 3M Perfect It system. It's actually a 3-step system, so it's more work than a Meguiar's, but I'm really liking the results right now. So it's 3 different grits of polish and 3 different grits I get 3 different, I guess would be hardness of polishing pads. So that's what I use currently, and for the foreseeable future I don't think I'll be switching from that. I just like the work. I like the results that I get. Of course, they both come from the automotive industry. McGuire's is more, I don't know, you can go to the auto parts store and pick it up. You know, it's real easy to get. The other stuff, you almost have to get from more of an auto body specific type of supply house. I could be wrong on that, but I'm knocking stuff over. But I have not seen it at like you know, any sort of auto parts store or anything like that. Um, I think I think the McGuire's will probably get the results that you're looking for, because I've had good results with it as well, and it works really well. So I don't think you'll be disappointed. But what I use currently is the 3M Perfect It system. So of course, not sponsored or anything, but that's what I use. Jimmer says, build those test guitars anyhow. Call them the Haley Derelict series. That'd be kind of cool. My, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what we'll do with it. Robert says, most times a butterfly is used to hold wood together and is normally used only on one side. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go all the way through. I don't believe I have either, Robert. So, and that's kind of why I had the answer that I had. Yeah, Paul says I have some McGuire's. I hope it works. I think you'll be okay, Paul. And if you need to, you know, send me a message or something. And when if you're trying to work through it and you're having issues, the pad, I think the pad you're using makes a difference as well. I think you said before you had a wool pad for it. Just be careful. A wool pad is probably the most aggressive cutting in my experience. So you just make sure you don't burn through. Sam says, thanks for the fantastic stream, Jeff. You absolute legend. Thank you, Sam. Sam says, totally agree, my friend. Try to watch the show because it calms me down. And I'm talking to my fellow humans thousands of miles away. Wish you the best from the bottom of my heart. Well said, KK. Yes. And that's what's so cool about this. I know. I've said it lots and lots of times. But I can't, my brain can't grasp how amazing it is that we can hang out, you know, just a bunch of old friends here. That's what it feels like. But we're all over the world. We've got, you know, all over the United States. We got the UK. We got Greece. We got Australia. We got, you know, I mean, it's just, my mind can't grasp that we're hanging out together at the same time. All over the world, literally. It's just, it's so cool. And, you know, thanks for allowing me to ask, you know, questions about your different areas and things. Like, you know, I like to learn all that stuff about your, you know, where you guys live. It's just so cool to me that, I don't know, rant complete. But thank you guys. I appreciate all of you for tuning in and hanging out here from literally all over the world. It's my mind is blown. Harry Dude says, I've been polishing gloss poly on guitar necks with Autosol chrome polish. That's all I had and is working well. Airbrush the poly on, then buff with the Autosol. I have heard of that Autosol. I have zero experience with it. I've never used it, but I've heard several people using that for different things. Paul says, picking up some polishing pads from my random orbital sander today will turn the speed down to lower level. He says, I'm tempted to use big micro mesh pads and polish them. Maybe. What I have used, hang on, I got to step out of the frame again really quick before we wrap this up. If I can find it, where are they? Oh, I think they're over here. I can't recommend enough to have a bunch of microfiber towels, Paul. What I started with, oh, look. There it is, right there. That's what I have used before. I didn't realize it was right there in the drawer. What I have had good luck with, I don't use them anymore for the most part, but actually these are kind of worn out. These are SureBuff pads. It's basically a microfiber buffing pad. I stick it right on the back of my random orbit sander. I think technically, oh yeah, these are pretty crusty. I think technically they're made for a different sort of interface pad, but I have Velcroed them right to my random orbit sander, and I've polished several guitars, coffee table, I don't even know what else with these, and they work really well. Yeah, these feel very scratchy now. But so whatever you're using, you're gonna want microfiber towels, because a little tip. You get everything polished, and if you, let's say you just grab a rag of some sort, and you go to wipe off the slurry, the slop left over after polishing, and your rag, without knowing it, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it has happened to me. Your rag, without knowing it, and you're wiping off, cleaning everything off, is putting more scratches in there. Maybe there's a piece of sawdust stuck to it. Maybe there's just a scratchy spot on the rag. But for whatever reason, you're putting more scratches, and you wipe it all off, and you're like, huh, I still got some more polishing to do. So you go and you polish it again, and you get it all done, and you grab the rag and you wipe it off. And unbeknownst to you, you're putting more scratches back in. And you're like, oh, I still have scratches. Let me polish some. And you get stuck in this loop, and it is super annoying. Ask me how I know that. So now, I will never, ever reuse a rag when it comes down to polishing. I will not reuse an old t-shirt. I will not reuse an old anything. I will use a brand new microfiber cloth, and I will treat that thing like white glove type treatment while I'm using it, because the instant you set it down on an area that's not clean, you're going to pick up a little piece of dirt, and we're back to the same cycle. When you wipe it off, you put more scratches in. So this is just something that I learned on from experience. So now, I mean, I might go through a couple of these, during the process of polishing, especially if I'm with the process I use now. I use 3 different grits. So once I use the coarse grit, I'm either getting a different towel, or I'm making very sure that I am using a completely different area of the rag, because any of that coarser compound that's on the rag, you're going to put those scratches right back in the surface. And it can be super frustrating. So trust me on this one. And of course, the more you have to go back and polish, the more you're removing, the greater your chances of going to the finish. So that would be my recommendation. I mean, you can go anywhere, and get, microfiber towels. And when I buy one, I've seen some that are kind of, they have cutouts, they're open, for the packaging. I want something that's completely sealed in a bag, so that no matter how long it's sat in the store, dirt, dust, things, I'm hoping are not in there if it's completely sealed. So that's my 22 cents on polishing cloths. Once I've used them, I consider them done, and I will never use them again for polishing. Now, I'll throw them in the wash, and I'll use them for other things, to get that old compound and stuff off there. I don't just throw them away, but I will never again use that used rag, even after it's gone through the wash. I guess maybe I'm a little over protective, but that's just, I've become very diligent in using a clean rag, and a clean rag only, for polishing, because I have chased the scratch. I've been in that scratch circle. I'm like, why is it still scratched? Polish. Why is it still scratched? Polish. Why is it? So take it for what it's worth. But that is my experience. Jimmer says, I use butterflies to hold cut fingers together. Yes, they work good. They're those little butterfly band-aids. Paul says, appreciate it. By the way, sent you pics of the CBG made from pallets. I feel like you sent me that before, but I will check it out. Paul says, have a great week and appreciate the advice. Robert says, I have a kettle for heating water for tea or other hot drinks. My water straight from the tap's not good. Paul says, you've got Texas also, so the chat's complete. Dallo says, I'm late. Have a great week, Jeff and everyone. Right on, Dallo. Hope you're doing awesome. Glad you at least got to pop in as we wrap this up. Paul says, got a ton of those towels. Good. Robert says, everyone stay safe, healthy, and have a good week and beyond. Sam says, the workshop needs a tube of hand wipes for removing oil, grease, and grime. Harry Dude says, I look forward to these every week. Enjoy talking tools and projects with all my international friends and learning new things. Thanks, everyone. Well said, Harry Dude. Yes, I the same. Sam says you can make an ark for the yard, for the pond, filled with stuffed animals. Yeah, stuffed animal ark. That'd be funny. Sam says DJs like to scratch. Waka, waka, waka. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to get out of here. I got to get to gluing some handles on a little knife project. Be on the lookout. Jimmer says, put some pictures of the trailer on the forum. Yes, I saw that. If you guys want to see Jim's setup, head over to the Facebook group, the Homeboat Workshop Facebook group. Check it out. All handmade. Super awesome setup from the Jeep to the trailer. Everything. It's super cool. Sam says, be safe. Time Surfing says, see ya. Later, guys. Thank you again for tuning in, hanging out. Another great live stream is in the books, as they say. Thanks, guys. Stay safe. Take care. And we'll see you next week. New project coming out this weekend. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk to you later. Till next time. Have a good one. And the button works the first time. Amazing.